Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's James here from OCCULT Audio, and I'm really excited to chat to you about GÆSTEN II. So GÆSTEN II has been rebuilt from the ground up inside our brand new vector engine, and in this walkthrough I'm going to show you how it works, how it moves, and how you can shape it into evolving, unsettling atmospheres for scoring and sound design. So let's jump in, have a look. There we go. So welcome to the main vector page, and if you've had GÆSTEN before, you see we've completely changed and upgraded it. Before, GÆSTEN featured 2 sample engines. We've now, with this new vector engine, we've got 4 sample engines working away, and you can see each of those is represented by this little control panel here, where we've got the level, we've got the pan, the width, and we can mute those levels here as well should we need to. And we've got 4 of them across. Now, those levels can also be controlled with the pad, effectively. So each of these corners represents one of the samplers. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's just have a listen again to Converge. So you can hear it shifting now as I move across the pad, and what we've really wanted to do and what we wanted to really overhaul with this, by cross-fading between those layers, it gives you very, very fluid cinematic transitions, and that's fine. You can program CC data to do that. If you want to do that, you could automate it using a DAW, as I've shown you before in other videos. But what we wanted to take was take the things that we've done with alluvial and desolate in terms of the movement and go a step further with that. So that's what we've done. So just below the vector pad, you'll see we've got a box with some options here. And if we turn on this first one, we're going to start moving in that circle. Now I could change that to a square as well if I wanted it to be more square, and I can change the direction using this button here, and I can change the speed. The thing I can do is change the size of that shape, so I can drag it all the way out to the very edges, or I can bring it in. Now, the last one that we have, which is the one I like best, is random. So we've got one more button on here, which is this end one, and that is just, it's really gentle evolving. It doesn't follow the other buttons on the features. It's just, if you find a sweet spot in a sound that you like, it just gives you, and just randomly move around between the 4. Just very gentle, subtle, nothing too crazy. So that's your movement, that motion, that circular motion, that square motion. You've got control of the speed, the movement, how pronounced that transition is, and then you've got random, just for it to be completely random. So the other great thing that we've brought back in from other things is we've got 3 buttons down here. So if I've been working away and I've been working here and I just want to reset my dot to the center, I've got a button that will just do that for me. The other way to do that is to just double click on the dot and it will reset, but there's a button should you want to recall the dot back to the middle setting. We've got this dice button, 4 dots for 4 layers. If we click that, that will automatically in our layers page randomly find some different samples. And then we've got the shuffle button. What the shuffle button will do is shuffle around where the samples are. So what was in 1, 2, 3 and 4, it will still be the same, but it will switch them around. So if you had particular effects, and we'll look at that later, apply to different layers, that sound will shift to a different layer to give you something new as well. So let's just hit the random button and see what happens. Let's hit it one more time, see what we get. And you can see it's chaotic, it's on the edge, and you've got to go in and make these changes. So when we overdid the UI for this, and that's one of the big things we've wanted to do, we've got some different panels here. So let's move to panel 2, which is our actual layers panel. So within the layers page, we've got the 4 samplers individually. So I'm going to go ahead and actually let's load up Doom Impending. Let's take us back. So you can see in each of the samplers, I've got these different voices loaded, and you can change that. You can go through all the individual samples, and there's a bunch more samples that have been added since GÆSTEN I was released as well. So there's new sounds that you won't have come across before, particularly organic sounds. We've added a bunch more organic sounds in there. So just as GÆSTEN before, you've got control over the stops, starts of where things play back. They're defaultly set to loop. Because this engine is designed to be textural, atmosphere, background, it makes sense for them to be looping. So they're defaultly set with this loop button here that's on. The button next to that is the reverse button. So we can reverse. And the other option that we've got here is to turn on pitch bend. This is a feature that a lot of you asked for. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mute the other 3 layers. And we're just going to focus on layer number 1 for a second, which is contact. So here we've got the loop on. So if I take a much smaller section of it, if I now reverse it, I now put pitch bend on, and I use the mod wheel on my MIDI controller. I'm going to get some pitch bending. And again, that's a feature that lots of you wanted added. Now, we've got, as before, our attack, decay, sustain, release as well. So we've got some control over the starts and stops of that. And then before, we had, in the middle of GÆSTEN, we had an oscillate engine that would take the overall sound and run it through an LFO and give you some fun options to play with. What we've done this time, because people like that feature, we've given each one of the samplers their own LFO. So you can click the little sine wave there to turn it on, and you can see it's moving through the step as we see, and you can set the tempo. So I'm going to set it to, and if you double click the bars, they return to their kind of default positions, but we'll do something a bit funky. So let's grab another preset. Let's maybe grab an atmosphere now. Let's take let's just take tension building for a second then. Let's just hear that first of all. Okay, so let's look at the next layer tab on our UI. So we've got the FX now. So each of these samplers, 1, 2, 3, 4, has access to a low and high pass filter, saturation and chorus, and then globally we've got delay and reverb. So this preset currently is using a hallway reverb. Let's switch it up to the hangar. Let's put some delay in as well, why not? Why don't we play around with the filters and the saturation as well? And again, we're starting to create something that's totally different. It's edgy, it's crazy. Let's have a look at a couple of other presets before we look at the last tab. Let's look at some of the movement ones. Let's have a look at percussive. Because it can be so controlled or so random. It entirely depends on what you want to do. So let's talk about the preset browser window then. We've upgraded this. It was quite small before. We've made it a bit bigger. And we've put an extra column in to allow us to do that. So you've got the factory presets here, which is your sort of overarching user directory folder, if you want to think of it like that, and then you've got space for user presets. Then we're giving you, I think there's about 60 presets in this, so atmospheres, things that are definitely bases, from completely chaotic to beautifully subtle at the slight adjustment of anything. So there's a lot that you can play with in this. So let's just very quickly look at the last tab, which is our settings tab. I've talked about this before, but again, there's a couple of features that we've added in for people because they want them there. So we've got general kind of performance usage. We've got zoom. There's a lot of people. I mean, we've tried to find an interface size that is a sensible size, but depending on how you like to work and what size your screen is, what you've got, this zoom factor just lets you be in control of what you want to see or don't see. You can change the maximum number of voices. If you've entered CC MIDI data onto any of the controls in there, you can clear that by simply clicking a button. And if you move your samples, you can now do this in here. So when you first install it, it'll ask you to install the samples, and then it will know and tell you where the sample location is. So you can see mine's on an external drive at the minute. And if you need to, you can click that, change the folder. It doesn't matter what operating system you're on, you'll be able to change that. Then you've just got some buttons that link to our website, YouTube, and that's it. So it's not that it needed much, but I think it's just a little feature that allows you to just have a bit more control of what's happening, and particularly if you've got issues with changing drives or samples, you can change that sample folder location without a problem. So look, I mean, there you go. It still contains all of that 100 kind of mega processed drones and textures we had. The original 80 organic recordings have now been complemented by probably another 30 or so. So you've got about 200 samples in there to play with. So the combinations, there's just a ridiculous amount of combinations that you could make with the 4 like this. And by using that kind of vector system, the pad, the movement, you've got all the controls that you could be as in-depth as you like, or you could frankly leave it to chaos and chance. So look, it's not necessarily about triggering sounds, it's about letting them shift, evolve over time, and it's designed not just to layer but to move. It's available now. If you're signed up to the mailing list, you've already received an additional discount on top of the sale price discount, so look out for that in your inbox. Let me know what you think. I'll catch you on the next one.